Ladies and gentlemen, CPS Boxing News Inc. from Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York, with Miguel Flores, one of the ring's announcers, and also, he speaks about boxing. How you doing? Welcome to New York. How's everything?
It's always good to be back here in Brooklyn. It's been a little bit with PBC being away from Brooklyn for a while, but we are back, and we're back with a big-time event, and no bigger than Gervonta Tank Davis, Lamont Roach, WBA lightweight world title on the line. You know it is going to be a party here in Brooklyn. It was the last time PBC was here in 2022, so it's for sure going to be very similar on March 1st.
Hey, let's say every time the Tank brings, fights, it's always excitement. He sells tickets and everything like that. What's the the important thing of his career that eventually every time that he, fights, always sell out tickets?
I think it's his style, because he's opened up his personality over the last few fights. You've seen that in his press conferences and the build-ups to some of these fights. But at the end of the day, he is kind of that mini Mike Tyson of this era right now. He is, every time he steps in the ring, you cannot look away, you cannot get out of your seat, because if you do, you might miss something spectacular. And we saw that in his last fight against Frank Martin with that highlight reel knockout that he had. So I think it's just the way he fights, people are excited because they know they're going to see something special, and he has not let people down since he has been on this run.
I agree with you. Eventually, every time that brings a performance in different places, it's amazing how to see he comes and performs. And my respect also for his opponents. Every opponent that he has faced in the past and continues, like Lamont Roach, right now that he's coming, with everything. They always say one thing. They already figure out, to defeat Gervonta Tank Davis. In my opinion, he's one of the best right there. He's a champion for a reason. What's your thoughts when you hear, things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, Tank is one of the best fighters in the world. In my opinion, he's top 5 pound for pound. I mean, he is one of those guys that people see the knockouts, but they don't realize how high his IQ is in the ring. Like, he sets up traps, he sets up his opponents. There's things that he will see. That's why he doesn't throw much in the first few rounds, because he's kind of calculating and seeing what the tendencies are of his opponents. So you have to be on your A game. And in order to defeat a guy like Tank, you have to be perfect for 12 rounds. And that is very tough to do when Tank can erase all that with one punch.
Totally, it's something that eventually every time he performs, he takes his time, and if he wants to deliver a knockout, he will use his timing. I consider him one of the best pound for pounds, boxers in his division. And eventually, talking about his division, I remember I interviewed not long ago Rayo, and Rayo says that he's open to fight him. What do you think if this fight happens in the future, if both of them, they face each other?
Look, that's a fantastic fight. It seems like it would be an easy fight to make because Rayo's, been with PBC. Tank, obviously, with PBC. Rayo up at 140 pounds. Now, we've seen Tank say that he's comfortable at 135. He has gone up to 140 once against Barrios, but he doesn't seem that he is eager to move up to 140. I think he can do it because I think he's just that good, and his power will carry. So that's a fight I'd love to see happen. Will it happen? We'll have to see, but that's stylistically a fight that I would love to see, because Rayo's got power, he's got pop, he's got good in-ring IQ. Same with Tank, and obviously Rayo's got the Hispanic crowd. Tank, brings his crowd as well. So that would be shaping up to be a really, really good fight. I'd love to see it. Will we in 2025? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. 2025 is right around the corner. So many great fights that it can happen. Eventually, from Eddie Hearn, right now Shakur Stevenson, that's eventually one of the, fights that I think fight fans are expecting. This match happens. We don't know if it's gonna.
Yeah.
What do you think if it happens, in 2025, Shakur Stevenson and
it's tough. Because I think big fights can happen. It's been shown already. And I think when it makes sense, it will happen. And I do see Shakur and Tank getting it on. There's no way they can, not face each other over the next 2 years. Will it happen next year? I'm not sure, but 2026, I could for sure see that happening. There are a lot of moving parts, as you mentioned, Eddie Hearn with Shakur and Matchroom, DAZN, Tank with PBC and that side. But as we've seen, everyone has collaborated on a lot of big mega fights. Tank and Ryan collaborated, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. So these fights can happen, and when they're fights of this type of magnitude, that's going to be a huge event. I mean, it's best for all involved for it to come to fruition over the next couple of years.
Hey, totally agree with you, because eventually mega fights are created with these type of names, like eventually Shakur, Stevenson, Gervonta D, Rayo, Teofimo, Lopez,
Yep.
and even Isaac Pitbull, because I remember Rayo says that he was gonna do like a rematch with him, but right now Isaac Pitbull went to fight Fierro, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's going to be fighting on the February 1st card under the Morrell Benavidez fight card. It's exciting. 135 to 140, as you mentioned, you already set out a lot of those names. There's so many intriguing matchups that you can make, whether it is Rayo and Pitbull, or when Ryan comes back, are him and Haney going to do it again? Devin Haney still was a world champion for a while. He's looking to get back into the mix. Shakur's got a fight coming up February 22nd. So there's a lot of great names within the 140, 135 pound divisions that you can really intermix any of them, and it's going to be a great fight.
I agree with you, expecting to see the best from all these fighters in 2025, and we'll see, what comes next. And talking about greatness and everything like that, we just saw the performance of Canelo Alvarez, Edgar Berlnaga. My respect for Edgar Berlnaga, because I thought, he was gonna come short, but he proved that he deserved, to be respected, and now he gained, some kind of respect. What's your thoughts on his performance and Canelo's also performance?
Yeah, I think Berlnaga won over quite a bit of eyeballs in that fight. I don't think many people gave him much of a chance. No, at the end of the day, you look at it, Canelo won pretty easily, but I don't think it was in the way that many thought it would be. Many thought Canelo would knock him out within 6, within 8 rounds. But the fact that he was able to go to the distance says something about him. After getting knocked down, he was able to get right back up and kept coming forward on Canelo. So you got to give him credit for that. He's still extremely young, still a lot to learn, a lot to develop. So the fact that he already has that experience under his belt, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of great names that he can face off of in 2025. You got, Jamal Charlo out there. Caleb Plant's been calling him out. Those are a couple of fights that I'd love to see Berlnaga in the ring with going forward next year.
Yeah, even Chris Eubank Jr. If
Yep.
it is in that division, that would be so great to see Edgar Berlanga conquering the UK. If let's say that fight happens in the UK. Hey.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It seems like Eubank, I don't know how true it is, but there were rumors of him and Conor Benn looking to restart things. So I don't know what's going on over there. They've been trying to make that fight for quite a while. But yeah, when you look at a lot of the names, there are a lot of matchups that you can have out there. So again, Berlnaga's young. I think he needs to get more experience before he gives it another go at a big time name. So I think get a fight or two under his belt, learn from what he made mistakes on in the Canelo fight, and continue to progress forward, because again, he is still extremely young. He's got a lot of power. He's a good-looking kid, so he's got that Puerto Rican fan base that follows him, and he can continue to build on his career and his fan base.
I agree with you, because he's still developing his skills and better, and as you mentioned, Caleb Plant and other fighters, they've been calling out his name, and I think 2025 it's about greatness, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna happen, this type of fight. So any message that you would like to send the fight fans, audience, and everyone that would tune in to watch the interviews?
Absolutely. Make sure you follow CPES Boxing, as he's always bringing great content. The presser's coming up shortly. Tank Davis, Lamont Roach, They're going to be in the building here at Barclays Center the first time they are coming face to face. You don't want to miss it. Anytime Tank, as I mentioned earlier, his personality has been opening up more and more. He likes to get in his opponent's head, so I'm interested to see how Lamont Roach will react when he comes face to face with Tank Davis for the very first time this evening here in Brooklyn, New York. I'm Miguel Flores. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning on in to all the fight content.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen from Brooklyn. Miguel Flores with us. Thanks.